We start tonight with today's magnitude 7.0 earthquake that shook Northern California. It hit off the coast at 10:44 this morning, west of Ferndale in Humboldt County. The shaking was felt in San Francisco, Sacramento, the Oregon border, and even Modesto. People in Humboldt County describe seeing their cars moving up and down and seeing things falling and crashing.
Take a look. I want to show you photos inside a general store in Shelter Cove. Look at that. The store's owner says this was one of the biggest earthquakes they've seen in quite some time. Some people even decided to leave their home looking for safety outside.
Being in California, I'm kind of acclimated to earthquakes, but I could tell right off the bat that this was a big one that definitely sparked some fear in me. And after it set in, I decided to go outside and felt kind of even more unsafe because the ground outside seemed to be moving more than the creaking and shaking house.
The Humboldt County supervisor credits the county's earthquake preparedness, saying hospitals are up and running and their power plant looks in good condition too. They'll continue checking roads and other infrastructure. The earthquake also sent shockwaves to the capital city.
ABC 10's Garshpal Sangha has more tonight as the governor declares a state of emergency in the hardest hit counties.
It is a shake that left many stunned and scrambling for safety.
Everything from the shelves fell down and the lights started going and people fell down.
Next thing you know, people are yelling at us, get out of the water.
Look at the knife stuck in my floor.
The sharp fear spread across Northern California as state government workers in the capital city just had to ride it out.
People were looking out the windows and the blinds are shaking, and then all of a sudden it felt like you were on the deck of a pitching ship.
For some, the earthquake was a terrifying experience. For others, it was a reminder of the unpredictable nature of life in California.
All of us kind of stood up and we were looking around at each other. Then we went to the window. Some people are like, I'm getting out of here.
While the earthquake caused an anxiety in the city, the real danger came from the potential of a tsunami triggered by the quake.
The tsunami's seconds count, so we really have to move quickly to make sure we're broadcasting these warnings.
Cal OES thankful those warnings stayed as such. However, the agency activated the State Operations Center as Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency for Del Norte, Humboldt, and Mendocino counties, mobilizing CalGuard to assist with the response and recovery efforts.
It's another reminder of the state that we live in and the state of mind that we need to bring to our day-to-day reality here in the state of California in terms of being prepared for earthquakes.
Cal OES working around the clock to coordinate efforts across the region, while Sacramento was spared from the major damage. Emotionally, it was not.
I started to feel almost as if I was having vertigo. This was like 2 whole minutes, so the anxiety was just like, when is it gonna stop?
And the proclamation also opens up fairgrounds and state properties to be used as shelters to help those who have been impacted by this disaster. Reporting at Cal OES headquarters in Mather, Garshpal Sangha, ABC 10.
Garshpal, thank you. Let's get to meteorologist Carly Gomez now. Carly, you've been tracking the aftershocks.
That's right, and I just checked on the latest. We are now at number 87 in aftershocks. The last one was a 2.6, the one just before that a 3.1. So we really have been up and down anywhere from 2.5 to 4.7 in magnitude after that initial 7.0 at 10:44 a.m. Now, over the last 12 hours, the aftershocks have just been hitting that entire line here from the coast all the way out, and that's that Mendocino fault zone that really has been getting hammered with a lot of the aftershocks, and we'll continue to see them. Big earthquakes. It's not unusual to have so many aftershocks. Some of the biggest earthquakes often have thousands, if not weeks after the initial event. Now, a tsunami warning was issued earlier today. It was canceled after 1 hour of being issued, just slightly over that hour mark. Initially was set to continue until potentially Sunday, but was lifted, of course, as they realized things were actually becoming much calmer and weren't seeing the big impacts that could have happened. So that's some good news. But the inundation that could have happened with this, the portions that we're really worried about were a lot of the inlet areas you notice here just in that bay of Eureka and then also that Humboldt Bay area zone. Then also down the coastline and then into areas of San Francisco as well as into the Delta. Of course, we have a lot of the Delta portion that streams right out into the ocean. So that, of course, was also a concern. Now, closer to home tonight, we are looking at visibility starting to diminish now. Areas from Stockton, Modesto south toward the Central Valley already starting to see some dense fog building. We'll talk more about this coming up.
Sounds good, Carly. Thank you. The earthquake early warning system was put to the test today, and scientists say they're very happy with how the system performed, saying it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Also known as Shake Alert and managed by the USGS, the MyShake app takes information from Shake Alert to notify millions of people in California, Oregon, and Washington. Experts at UC Berkeley say it's meant to alert people before anyone feels anything.
We live in a very active earthquake zone. Experts say today's quake was strong, but typical for parts of Northern California. Here's why. Scientists call the location where the quake struck today the Mendocino Triple Junction, a place where the Cascadia subduction zone, the Mendocino Fault, and the San Andreas Fault all come together, meaning there are at least 3 different tectonic plates that move in different directions and different speeds. That's why they have so many earthquakes. I talked with earthquake expert Dr. Kit Miyamoto, who says Sacramento was spared today, but the area's soft soil and rivers make us vulnerable when the next big quake hits.
Thankfully, this time we had the activity offshore, underwater, far away from an urban area, that we've been somewhat spared this time.
That's right, exactly. And but it's lucky actually that this particular earthquake did not cause the tsunami. You know, that northern coastline, there's actually subduction zone we call, which is essentially same fault mechanism, like going down like that, same as what caused the major tsunami disaster in 2011 in Japan.
There's been a lot of comparisons to the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake, which was a lower magnitude than today's quake, but as you may remember, caused so much damage that took years to recover from. Scientists say that's because the Loma Prieta quake radiated under a lot of urban areas. In contrast, today's earthquake hit offshore, underwater, far away from populated areas, sparing us any humanitarian effects that could occur when earthquakes hit under land. And when it comes to aftershocks, there have already been more than 60 today. Scientists expect more for the next week, gradually diminishing in strength over time. Dr. Miyamoto says today's quake is a good reminder to prepare for the next quake, which he says will happen. We just don't know when.
And as we mentioned, today's earthquake led to a tsunami warning on the Northern California coast all the way down to Santa Cruz. And take a look. Some may remember the tsunami that hit Northern California in March of 2011. This is video of the Santa Cruz harbor after a magnitude 9.0 earthquake hit off the coast of Japan. That tsunami caused approximately $20 million in damage to the harbor.
Our ABC 10 earthquake coverage started on ABC 10 Plus right after the earthquake hit. We were live for 2 hours. Remember, you can always see what we have on the home screen. The ABC 10 Plus app is free wherever you get your streaming apps, including Roku and Amazon Fire TV.